Alright guys, Jameson and Alex. Today we're going to be talking about the backgrounds and feats from the new Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos book.
They're intertwined.
Yes, very much so. So, we are also doing a giveaway for the D&D Beyond Players Bundle, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to be entered in that. And of course, today's video is sponsored by Hit Point Press. Ooh. Check out their deck of many animated spells, which is a tool to assist both players and DMs, freeing you from traditional reference books and adding some flair. Each card features 8-frame looping animation that animates when the card is tilted, and each card has easy-to-reference information on the back. Order before December 19th and use code FREESHIP at checkout to receive free shipping to the US and Canada on orders of $100 or more of in-stock items and guarantee shipping in time for Christmas. Enhance your tabletop experience at hitpointpress.com/animated-spells. But all that being said, we'll just jump straight into it, straight to the point, guys. We have 5 different backgrounds. One of each is related to each of the schools of magic or colleges in the Strixhaven setting. So,
if you remember from the UA,
yes,
they actually had subclasses.
Yes.
And these subclasses were tied to usually 2, I think it might even be 3 different base classes that you could have picked. If you were any of these base classes, you could have picked the following subclasses, and it would have been based on each one of these colleges at the Strixhaven University of Magic. So that didn't happen anymore. It's gone.
Yeah, completely.
So instead of subclasses, we got all of these backgrounds and corresponding feats that are attached to said backgrounds with Lorehold, Prismari, Quandrix, Silverquill, and Witherbloom.
So we'll just get straight into it here. There are some similarities among all of these, especially with the second part, which is the feature, which we will we'll go through the backgrounds first, and then we'll get into the feats and how those are incorporated as well, which is interesting because they do kind of have like a scaling aspect, which, stay tuned for that. It's interesting. So first up, we have the Lorehold student. On here, you got your proficiencies in history and religion. You get 2 languages of your choice. Get some equipment, bottle, black ink, ink pen, hammer, hooded lantern, tinderbox, tome of history, school uniform, and a pouch containing 15 gold pieces. Then, of course, you get the feature, which is Lorehold Initiate, which all of these are going to have their school with Initiate. Yes. Which we will get into later on. Also, if you have spellcasting or the Pact Magic feature, which you got to get the Warlock some love on there, you also get additional spells added to your spell list for your spellcasting class.
Yeah, and that's important. Added to the spell list. They're not
Warlocks.
They're not freebies, a la Cleric Druid. They are available to be chosen.
Yes. We have Comprehend Languages and Identify. We have Borrowed Knowledge, which is a new spell, which we'll go over in our spells video as another point, so stay tuned for that. And Locate Object. And then for 3rd level spells, you get Speak with Dead and Spirit Guardians. 4th level, you get Arcane Eye and Stone Shape. And 5th level, you get Flame Strike and Legend Lore. So we actually have a pretty decent mix of roleplay and combat abilities. So here's our comparison. For the Lorehold on the Unearthed Arcana, it was originally for Bard, Warlock, and Wizard. Okay. Which is a kind of a strange mix. It's kind of like the charisma, but also the knowledge in there. It's a little odd. Yep. But so there's that. Yep. And then what it's going to do for each of these, it gives you some role play stuff associated with it. So suggested characteristics, some personality traits and things.
Bone to pick with this, because building a Lorehold character, bards thrive in Lorehold and wizards. Clerics are also quite common.
Yeah. Right.
So bone picked.
Yeah. Exactly. They decided, I guess, that they just were gonna, since they're not going to have any subclasses, it's just
like we can get buck wild with a thing.
You know, they probably have tried to incorporate it. That is incorporating all the casters, I guess, by adding that line there. Versus otherwise, they were the one lonely casters left out. Although the artificers are kind of in there.
They're half casters. They're half casters.
Yeah, half casters, and
so they're paladins, artificers, rangers.
If I remember correctly, little spoiler on here for later on for the spell video. Yeah, artificers get a couple of the new spells to their spell book. That's why I was thinking of it.
Makes sense.
But yeah, Yeah, so you get some personality trait options on here.
Trinkets.
Some trinkets. I guess people have liked the trinkets because they keep seeming to add those in every book now. So, I mean, it's a nice little thing to randomize, maybe even just finding a pouch full, because maybe you find or you pickpocket someone who is a lower hole student. Is there some things that could be in it? It's interesting for the DM to kind of play with that kind of stuff. So it is interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Next up is the Prismari student. You're getting skill proficiencies with acrobatics and performance, tool proficiencies, 1 musical instrument or artisan tools, 1 language, bottle of black ink pen, artisan tools, music instrument of your choice. Obviously, a school uniform house containing 10 gold. So you're not as wealthy as the lower hold student. Of course, Prismari initiate. Your spell list is a little bit more offensive, very, very sorcery, with Chromatic Orb and Thunder Wave, Flaming Sphere, and Kinetic Jaunt is, of course, one of the new spells. You're going to see that each one of these is going to get one of the new spells. Haste and Water Walk. Yeah, I said haste. Freedom of Movement, Wall of Fire, Cone of Cold, and Conjure Elemental. So
that's a pretty baller spell.
It's a pretty vicious, level 1 through 5. Because
those are just free too. Like if you had access to all of those, you're probably taking most, if not all of those, anyways.
Yeah,
that's a big freebie on some spells known there.
And again, I mean, freaking haste. You would think more people have access to it, but only sorcerers, wizards, and artificers as base classes have access to haste.
Right.
Then a couple of other subclasses get access to it specifically in there. But haste is fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a strong spell. And originally in Unearthed Arcana, the Prismari school was like the elemental magic kind of stuff.
And Cone of Cold, and Wall of Fire, and Chromatic Orb.
Going along with that, it was the Druid, Sorcerer, and Wizard were the options.
Makes sense.
There. So, yeah, definitely on there. And, of course, more character building stuff on here.
Personality traits and trinkets are all there.
Then we have the Quandrix student. Skill proficiencies with this one is Arcana and Nature. And you get tool proficiency, a type of artisan's tool. 1 language, so you're trading a language for an artisan's tool, which take that as you may. Equipment, bottle, black ink pen, abacus, book of arcane theory.
I love how it's an abacus is included.
I mean,
for counting.
Pouch containing 15 gold pieces, so a little bit on the wealthier side there.
Yes.
And the spells you're getting on here. Level 1, we get Entangle and Guiding Bolt. Level 2 spells, Enlarge, Reduce, and Vortex Warp, which is a new spell.
That's one of the ones that, okay, you can have a lot of fun with this spell.
Yes.
It's probably my favorite spell in the book.
3rd level, we get Aura of Vitality and, what do you know, Haste.
No, look at there.
4th level, we get Control, Water, and Freedom of Movement. 5th level, Circle of Power and Pass Wall. So these kind of do lean a bit more on the combat side, but there's some leeway.
But also more on the CC and battlefield manipulation instead of raw damage output like you get with the Prismari one as well.
Very much. And Quandrix, it actually was only for Sorcerer and Wizard, which is interesting considering these are more
druidy spells.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And plus Guiding Bolt, because who gets Guiding Bolt, guys?
Right.
It's cleric.
So yeah, definitely interesting on there for that kind of flavor. And that brings us next onto the Silver Quill student, which has proficiencies with Intimidation and Persuasion. 2 languages, again, for these guys. Bottle of black ink pen, book of poetry, a school uniform, and a pouch containing 15 gold pieces. I'm starting to feel bad.
For Prismaris, man. They broke as a joke.
Spells on here, we get 1st level Dissonant Whispers and Silvery Barbs, which is in this book. 2nd level spells, we get Calm Emotions and Darkness. 3rd level, we get Beacon of Hope and Daylight. 4th level, Compulsion and Confusion. 5th level, Dominate Person and Rarity's Telepathic Bond. So
this to me is the most obscure and unusual spell list I think I've seen put together.
It is interesting.
Yeah,
that is.
I'm trying to figure out an overall theme here, and I'm just I'm not seeing it.
I was kind of getting some darkness and light, and emotional.
This juxtaposed opposites of things.
Yes.
$5 word.
Yeah. So the Silver Quill originally were Bard, Warlock, and Wizard. Okay, sure. It says they hone the power of words. So it's like...
Oh, bards. So bards?
Yeah, I don't know what that has to do. It says they channel magic of light and shadow through words spoken
So it's not
aloud.
It's not cleric and warlock?
Right.
And of course, finally up is the Witherbloom student. And yes, Druid is going to be one of the choices here because it's nature and survival. Tool proficiency, specifically an herbalism kit, which is no choice of artisan tool. It's herbalism kit. One language of choice. Black pen, ink pen, a book of plant identification, an iron pot, and an herbalism kit, school uniform, and a pouch chain. 15 gold. So once again, the Prismaris, you poor broke suckers, only with a 10 gold.
Feels bad.
Witherbloom Initiate will give you, I think I said Witherbloom. Witherbloom Initiate. I'm pretty sure I'm going to call myself out there. Yep, this is going to be very much druidy, cleric-y spell list, but clerics aren't allowed to exist in this school in terms of the UA. So it's Cure Wounds, Inflict Wounds, Lesser Restoration, Wither and Bloom, which is a very unique spell, which is the new one, obviously. Revivify, Vampiric Touch, Blight, Death Ward, Anti-Life Shell, which is an underappreciated spell, and Greater Restoration. So again, very, very druidy, cleric-y spell list.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a solid spell list to have as well.
Yes,
you getting good utility for the party just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
especially if you're especially if you're playing wizard or sorcerer or warlock or bard who doesn't have access normally to cure wounds, revivify.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes you just need someone in your party that can cast.
Yeah, even if all you can do even if all you're doing with your cure wounds is getting somebody up from being unconscious, that's still better than not having it.
Yeah, for sure. So with Witherbloom and the Unearthed Arcana, it was for Druid and Warlock. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Those two options.
Not a surprise there at all.
Yes. So this is another reason why, man, I wish they would have just picked one of those and just gave
you could be like,
class.
Okay, this one easily. Let's take the time to do that. How would we have done this? Witherbloom is Druid. Done. Next one.
Fair. Let's see.
Because we didn't plan this ahead of time. This is just like spur of the moment.
Silver Quill talking about tongues. It's got to be Bard.
It's got to be Bard. Okay, next.
For sure.
Prismari has got to be Sorcerer.
Yeah,
no question.
I agree.
So Lorehold, I'm thinking has got to be Wizard.
Yeah.
Lorehold,
sure. The knowledge and stuff.
So Quandrix would be the oddball out here. What does that leave? Warlock.
Yeah. Would that make sense? I don't know that.
I don't like that spell list for warlocks.
Let me see. Quandrix and Tangle. You know what? We could swap Quandrix and Witherbloom and give Witherbloom to warlocks. It's
okay.
It's a little bit more of a gray area than there.
I mean, inflict wounds, cure wounds. Okay, all right. With
the
warlock,
life and death kind of feel.
Life and death thing. Okay, all right.
Pact with nature.
Yeah.
Stretch a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Make it work.
All right, I'm good with it. Quandrix druids.
There you go.
Witherbloom warlocks.
Easily. How hard was that, Wizard?
It literally took
How hard was that?
45 seconds.
So, anyways, jumping on.
Not planned, just decided to.
So, with the Strixhaven initiates that are accompanied with each of these backgrounds, you're going to have multiple options to choose from with cantrips, and you get to choose any first level spell from a specific pool of spells. So, for example, if you Lorehold, you get to choose 2 cantrips from Light, Sacred Flame, and Thaumaturgy. You get to choose a first level spell from the Cleric or Wizard spell list. Mm-hmm. So that's some good options in there.
Yes, because again, if you're playing a non-cleric or druid and you want access to cure wounds, it's there. If you're playing a cleric or druid and you want access to a good level 1 damaging spell that's not like Guiding Bolt,
right?
You're a wizard. You pick something. Or if you want to identify something cool like that, get that.
And you get the cantrips, which not everyone gets cantrips.
Not everybody gets cantrips.
Yeah.
Freaking artificers. Stupid artificers.
If you take the Prismari route, you get to choose 2 from Firebolt, Prestidigitation, and Ray of Frost, and you get to choose a first level Bard or Sorcerer spell. Some interesting utility on there.
Quandrix will give you access to Druidcraft, Guidance, and Mage Hand. Love all 3 of those choices, so not going to make a wrong choice there. Guidance is busted. I said it. And then choose 1 first level Druid or Wizard spell to pick from. And I love how with these, Warlock isn't a choice. They give you access to Wizard because Wizard has the most gargantuan spell list by a wide margin, and only Sorcerer is remotely close in depth of spell list. So the fact that it's Wizard, Wizard, and Wizard on 3 of them, good. Because you're getting 1 spell, and they're getting access to all of them.
Everyone gets Wizard spells.
Right. Silver Quill gives access to Sacred Flame, Thaumaturgy, and Vicious Mockery, so like a Bard exclusive cantrip there, and you're choosing first level of Bard or Cleric spell.
Yes, and then lastly we have the Witherbloom option. You get to choose from Chill Touch, Druidcraft, and Spare the Dying. And then a first level spell from Druid or Wizard.
Which is, I think, maybe the two most opposite in thematic, like Arcane Wizard and then Druid, Nature. Like, those two probably can't get any more opposite thematically.
Yeah, they're pretty different.
Makes it great. And then finally, the other big part of this is the Strixhaven Mascot is when you reach level 4 while having the Strixhaven Initiate feat. You can cast the Find Familiar spell as a ritual, and you get a specific mascot based on your individual college you're attached to. And all of these familiars are very, very cool. I said, again, artwork in this book is beyond phenomenal for all of these. Specific shout out to the Art Elemental mascot because he looks fantastic. But they all get their own unique abilities. A couple of them kind of, when they die, they explode. Yep. Others have like a charm. Others do damage over time effects, like if they're grappling something. So they each have their own unique ability that helps them stand out from being just a regular owl, cat, fox, whatever, that you're using for a normal familiar.
Right.
It also, when you take the attack action on your turn, you can forego one attack to allow your mascot familiar to make one attack of its own with its reaction. So for some reason, you really wanted them to attack instead of you. Maybe if you're playing if you're playing a barbarian, I don't know why I said barbarian, you can't get to a ranged attack and you've got access to this, you can let your guy get some damage in for you. But the option's there. And if your mascot familiar is within 60 feet of you, you can teleport as an action, swapping places with the familiar. If your destination space is too small for you to occupy, the teleportation fails and is wasted. Once you do it this way, you can't use this ability again until you finish a long rest unless you spend a spell slot of level 2 or higher to do it again.
It's actually pretty helpful just for that last thing, just to be able to switch places with something consistently. Could be a pretty big deal, and 60-foot range is pretty solid. Though, again, Find Familiar, not the best combat spell in the world because they don't scale necessarily.
Right.
But
very, very, very cool, and a lot of great things you can do with it in an RP sense, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely very flavorful, and I do like that they tried to add that extra stuff to the feat options.
Yeah.
Though I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel overall about it. It just seems like a lot to put into a single feat.
Well, at least with the spells. Well, I should say you're getting 2 cantrips and a level 1 spell. What do you get with a normal magic initiate? 2 cantrips and a spell.
That's fair.
The only thing extra you're getting is the feat. Because the background is what's giving you access to more spells, not the feat itself.
That's true.
So the feat's just getting the same thing the magic initiate gets plus the Find Familiar.
Yeah, so it's basically just power creeping magic.
Yeah, so it's basically errata-ing out magic initiate. Because why would you take magic initiate unless you wanted magic initiate for warlock? But why would you? Unless you really want Eldritch Blast specifically? Because that's really the only reason why you would. As opposed to taking
But if you're not a warlock and you take Eldritch Blast, it's not the same. Warlocks get so many buffs to Eldritch Blast, but that's a whole side discussion in and of itself.
Warlocks are freaking weird, man.
Yes. But yeah, definitely very interesting.
Yes.
I'd love to read what your guys' thoughts are on this whole thing on here. It seems at first glance to be a lot, but as Alex kind of said, it does kind of scale a little bit because as you level up, you're getting stuff.
Yeah, so, which is my favorite thing they have done more of lately is letting stuff scale. Yep. Even some of the racial abilities, like with the new Dragonborn thing they do in Fizzbands.
Right.
I do love that. I like when things feel like they scale with you more, and because otherwise it feels like, oh, this is great early on, and then it's completely useless once you get to higher levels. It doesn't scale with it. Yep. Whether it's an RP thing or whether it's a power creep on ability like breath weapons for Dragonborn, if they scale with you, it feels more usable. If it didn't scale at all, it would be completely useless past lower levels. So I would like to see more things like that. Which is, we can argue about how balanced the feat thing is with the way this is done, but I do like the concept of once you pick this, you get more as it goes.
Yep.
And you don't get it's not all front loaded immediately. You have to kind of work on it. As you it makes sense as your character grows, develops. You master this ability more and more, and you kind of unlock more potential behind it. I really like the flavor that helps create with it too.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good point on there. Just the scaling is just a very welcome added benefit to the newer content.
100%.
So yeah, that's basically our thoughts on the backgrounds and feats. It's kind of like one feat, and it's part of the background. But I guess you could take the feat in and of itself.
You absolutely can take the feat separate from the background. Just if you take the background, it's included with it.
It's free.
Yeah. So
you go variant human. You take this background, and then you take whatever, I don't know, forecast or something.
Overall, I think because you get the feat included with the background and what you get with the feat, background's dang good.
It's pretty good.
And compared to other background choices, the power, you actually get noticeable amounts of power from these.
I'd say especially if you're a warlock or a sorcerer, getting those extra spells is huge. Mm-hmm. Just getting those added to your spell list is huge.
So I would be concerned if you're not letting everybody have access to these, or if you're not doing a campaign set in this.
Right.
That if everybody had these feats at level 1,
I could see some DMs giving some issues to it, just because too you're like, well, the Lorehold College doesn't exist in our world. I don't know.
Yeah. I hope it does. I hope it does not create heated discussions about that kind of thing. But I am concerned about the overall power maybe being a little too high with giving you that much specifically in the background, because the background grants you the feat,
right?
Which is the first time that's ever happened before.
As far as I remember, yeah.
Because normally it's it's skill proficiency, a language, some equipment, and then a feature.
Yes.
But usually that that feature is you can always find passage on a ship.
Right.
Anywhere you go.
Something very niche.
You've got access to guild connections because you're a guild artisan, so you can get materials and things like that easier. And you have connections into maybe the higher ups in society because of your artisan history, things like that.
Right.
Or buildings very well because not. Extra freaking spells.
Yeah, right. But yeah, guys, that's our thoughts.
Yes.
A lot of cool stuff on here. Mm-hmm. Wish the book had more in general that went along with these kind of
Would have loved to have seen those subclasses do exactly how we suggested in the video. And again, 45 seconds.
Yeah. 100%.
But, and again, the UA exists. So, to me, if you're a homebrew, nothing's stopping you from doing exactly what we said to do.
That is true. That is completely true. So go forward to that if you enjoyed that.
Take a swing.
Guys, if you liked the video, remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you know when our new videos are coming out. Make sure you check out our sponsor, Hit Point Press. Enhance your tabletop experience at hitpointpress.com/animated-spells. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.